Welcome to another Coffee with Samso, where we speak with ASX companies and the guys who drive the stories. We're here at the UWA Club here in Crawley. Today we've got Alex Biggs here from Critical Resources, who have a lithium project play in Canada and a very good base metal play here in New South Wales. Alex has been on with us before, and it's been a while between drinks, mate, and give us how's things been going.
Thanks, Noel. Yeah, great to be back. It's been a while between drinks, correct. I think the company has changed fairly significantly from when we caught up last year to where we are today. We've made the acquisition of the Mavis Lake Lithium project over in Canada, also the Graphic Lake Lithium project, which is nearby. We've made other ground acquisitions in Canada, looking to build that lithium hub in Ontario. And of course our drilling at Halls Peak has started end of November, December. Some great results coming out of there. So big step change from where we were as a business 6 months ago to where we are today. That was always a strategy. Recently just raised $12.5 million too, which funds us, which gives us that runway to double down now, do the work and add the value to the projects.
Yeah, look, I'm a big fan of Critical, sort of declare out there that I'm a shareholder as well. Look, I love that base metal play in Halls Peak, and what you guys are doing in terms of, when we last spoke, you talked about the strategy of going to drill there and the prospectivity that you have there, and the drilling has come of it. That's quite good. I mean, I was going through your announcement last night. I think you one of the holes that I'm sort of very, very curious about is, and you're waiting for your essays to come in, and that sits just down deep from your previous holes. How soon how soon are you getting these results? But I know it's frustrating for everybody in the industry, and we just have to deal with it, I guess. What kind of time frame are we talking about?
So yeah, when we started drilling in November, December, we fast-tracked some assays back then, which we received just after Christmas. So, there was a pretty quick turnaround there. It would have been quicker, but the problem we're having is that they have to re-assay because we're experiencing such high grades. So they re-assay it again, and then they have to maybe re-assay it again. So it might add another 1 to 2 weeks on. So, that sort of 4 to 6 week lead time that we're seeing out of Brisbane is good, much better than we're seeing in Western Australia. I'm hearing 10, 12, even 14 weeks. So we're sort of locked in probably to a 4 to 6 week lead time at the moment on assays that are outstanding. There's multiple drill holes in the labs right now. The hole that you reference, I think you're talking about 11A. Well, 11A, that's a hole that we've recently sent in for assaying. We intersected 7, 8, 9 metres of chalco pyrite there, which was completely unexpected. 50 odd metres below surface. So that's something we're really excited to see when the assays come in. Let's say that's new to us. We didn't expect that. We're going to start chasing that system. We've just permitted some more holes to follow up on that, and also to look at some of these anomalies at depth. We've just done some geophys work around that on site. More targets, more holes getting permitted, more collars getting marked out. When we started drilling at Halls Peak, and we spoke about it, it's such a big system. Bear in mind, we've only started at Gibsons. We're still drilling at Gibsons right now. We're going to be doing Gibsons and then Sunnyside. We're still drilling at Gibsons, and I see us drilling there for some time before we move over to Sunnyside. So it's nice to be in a position where you've got a drill program where you're hitting mineralisation in every hole. We're still building the picture of Halls Peak, what that looks like. We do believe in this large-scale system, SEDEX system, as we've spoken about in the past. Is it zinc dominant, copper dominant? We don't know at this stage, but if you look at some of the grades that we've seen, particularly in the zinc, 26%, 5.3 metres, one of our recent announcements, up to 40 odd % zinc as well. So extremely high grades, and we know it's coming from somewhere, so we're chasing that. But as far as drill programs that I've been involved in, it's certainly one of the more successful programs that I've seen.
Because one of the things, in your Halls Peak, you've got 7 prospects that's in there, and we're just talking about 2, right? And they're all clustered together. And I did the article about the New England Fold Belt, and that was when I started realizing this is as good a place as you want to be in terms of regional geology and tectonic geology, to have a mineralization what you have, and the high grade as you go talk about, that's promising in the sense that your system is well endowed, or potentially well endowed, I should use those words.
Yeah.
I mean, that must create lots of excitement, and again, with your lithium focus up there, it's where do you run your strategy, I guess.
Yeah, look, I mean, you know, the project is what attracted me. You know, Halls Peak attracted me to the company initially. We've spoken about it at length. You wrote that article, which is fantastic. People get out and have a look at that. It's a really good analysis of the region, and it demonstrates the potential fantastically. So, you know, we're talking about Gibsons and Sunnyside, which are 1.7 kilometres apart. Okay, but we've also got 5 or 6 other prospects on the lease. You know, Firefly, Carnes, Faints, Mickey Mouse, all previous mining, all historic mining. You know, good grades that were pulled out of there. I'm talking, you know, 100 years ago or so. So small scale, but you know, very, very good grades, very good surface expressions, and we've got to follow those up too. So there is a lot of work to be done on that project. It's nice to be in a position where you've got all these targets, but I think first we do Gibsons, then we move to Sunnyside. We demonstrate that there's a continuity between those systems over 1.7 Ks. Then we start looking at the surrounding prospects too. And we've also pegged 800 odd square kilometres of ground around Halls Peak as well. There's a couple of purposes for that. We do like the exploration potential, as well as, you know, it's a good business strategy for us to protect our asset.
I mean, with the race recently, like what you mentioned, and that's quite sort of comforting to know that you're getting the support out there that to go ahead. Obviously, you've got that two-pronged play with lithium and Halls Peak, but I want to remind people that they should read that article and do that more research on it, because that place is, you know, have a lot of projects, mines that in that mix of magma coming out from below, right? So it's a good source area. In terms of obviously you've done the race, as we've just mentioned. What's the market telling you? I mean, we're going about a bit of a situation in the world with it. You know, our friends over in Europe playing toys and stuff. What's the market telling you at this point in time?
The market's telling us the same thing, that, you know, it backs good project fundamentals. And, you know, when we look at where the company was 12 months ago, it was $25 million market cap. We had Halls Peak in the company at that stage. You know, part of our strategy was always, right, we need to bring other assets into it. You know, the name Critical Resources, it's a good play on the critical mineral space. It gives us that broad scope for investment into, you know, base metals, lithium. You know, we're not sort of pigeonholed into precious metals, for example, as a gold company might be. So we looked at that and we said, right, what do we need to do first in this business? A lot of our shareholders were very keen for drilling to start at Halls Peak. Obviously we did that. We made the Mavis Lake acquisition towards the end of last year in the lithium space. And, you know, we did all this on $4 million spend, more or less. And, you know, we're sitting around circa $100 million right now, $120, $130 million. So to turn a business from, you know, 25 mil to, you know, at $100 million value with $4 million bucks, the way I pitch it is, you know, we can do a lot of damage with, you know, $12 million, $15 million in the bank. So that to us is a big tick of approval. That's, you know, we raised that money in a tough market. And don't forget, we're still an exploration company. We've got great assets. But, you know, to add value, you need to spend it, you need to do it, do the drilling. And, you know, we've started our permitting over in Canada for Mavis Lake. There'll be 5,000 metres drill program over there starting shortly. So, you know, people are expectant on results. You know, Halls Peak keeps delivering, and I see the same will be with Mavis Lake once we start over there.
So for the eager beavers, investors and shareholders and stuff like that, what's the time frame to you guys, you know, giving some truth machine to the ground in Canada? the drilling and things like that?
Yeah, so we're permitting now. We expect to be on the ground shortly. We'll hit that quite hard, 5,000 metres to start with. I think as a company, we've been very aggressive in the way we approach our assets. We don't want the market just to rate us. I say this all the time. We want to do the work as well. Obviously, sentiment is a thing, and we've seen that, the last week or so with the markets being a bit jittery. Is probably a polite way of saying it, but we need to be spending the money. So being cashed up gives us the opportunity to start our drilling there, continue our drilling at Halls Peak. We will overlap our permitting, so we'll start our 5,000 metres at Mavis Lake. We'll look straight away at other targets. Now we need to wait until the snow melts. When the snow melts, then we can get on the ground to do surface mapping. We'll be starting the drilling before that. That will give us some more targets. We don't just want to do a few thousand metres and then sort of park up for 6 months. There's no need to do that. We've got good information. We've got good technical information that allows us to make informed decisions, and that really drives our strategy. And of course, being aggressive, as we've proven.
I mean, I've noticed that you guys have taken a big acreage, and if I made some comments on social media about, it's nice to see that you guys are planning big here. How are you guys doing that? Obviously, you guys got guys on the ground already that's working with you, because it's not easy to pick up ground wherever, even in downtown Kalgoorlie, right?
It's a case of doing the work, and it's as hard as you want it to be. So we understand the strategy. For us, certainly in Canada, it's about building that lithium hub. Putting more projects together, building natural synergies. We're very, very aggressive in the way we do it, and we just chase that down. And we're proving we're being quite successful at it. And we're pegging ground that's got good potential. I mean, the Graphic Lake asset, which we picked up recently, there's 5.5 kilometres of mapped pegmatites there. Again, let's wait for the snow to melt, then we'll do some more surface mapping, walk the ground, we'll do some airborne surveys, and that will start leading towards what a drill program might look like towards the end of the year. This recently picked up ground, I think we announced that today, which is up near the PAC project, which is Frontier Lithium. Those guys drilled 400 metres at 1.6% lithium recently. So that's one of the premier lithium projects in North America, both grade and tonnage wise, and we're 5 kilometres from it. So we look at these plays, we look at these opportunities, we go back, we look at the old mapping data. It's important to look at that historical data. We analyse that, we move quickly, we make decisions, and that's how we add to our ground position.
I can consider fairly newcomer to the whole lithium space, in the sense that I think I understand more the demand, where it could be driven and how it's been driven. Just my latest, sort of shopping and looking around, doing research on caravans and lithium batteries, and it's amazing how much more that can do from a lithium battery point of view, being so much lighter than your traditional batteries, and being allowed to doing more. So I could see the demand, the drive from the demand, when you talk about industries taking this on, right? And in terms of our residential solar, we haven't even tapped into the lithium battery yet, because it's still considered costly. So when that sort of drops down, that curve drops, I think the demand will be humongous.
Yeah, I think so. And a lot of this change has been policy driven. We've seen this, I've spoken about this before. Governments are getting on board with policy driven change. They've got these green targets for 2030, for 2050. It's not optional. We can't just choose to do these things. It will be forced up on us, and we're therefore seeing technology evolving to support that. It's important that the technology evolves and people become comfortable with that, and that's going to happen over the next few years. And then you look at the supply side. There's no new projects coming online. The supply side is stunted. COVID certainly hasn't helped. Look at the lithium price, from where it was a year ago, 18 months ago. So we see prices remaining high, both in lithium, both in copper, zinc. We see it remaining high for the foreseeable future. So it's a good time to have assets in all of those commodities.
Yeah, I think one of the key drivers I mean, I was talking to someone about manganese yesterday. When manganese went for a run, sort of 2010, 11, they didn't have the EV kind of story playing on that, but now they do. So the potential moving forward, like I always use this example, and like things like molybdenum's high, tin's high, aluminium, all this kind of, whereas before it was very fluctuating and much lower base, right? So in terms of going forward, I think the ESG component, people will restrict the number of projects. As you said, there's not a lot of projects coming on, and if you throw the ESG component on top of it, you're going to cut that list down even more, and that's going to drive, I think, pricing a lot higher than people would envisage without the ESG factor. What's your thoughts on that narrative?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, ESG is very topical. We as a company are engaging in that right now. We've got a program to develop our ESG, which is very exciting. So we've started that, and I think that adds a lot of value to the business. I mean, as a business, you should be doing the right thing anyway, and we are. I think it's important to document that, and moving forward, investors will certainly be looking, at your ESG compliance and your impact on the world around you. And there's an irony that if we're working in the green technology space and the green metal space, to not be as ESG friendly as you could be, perhaps is it's a little bit ironic. So for us as a business, that certainly drives what we do as well. That's being developed now, and very important for us moving forward.
And jurisdictions plays a big role in whether you can achieve that as well, right?
Sure.
And I think jurisdiction like North America and here can be advantageous for a company like yours.
Definitely. I mean, you look at where we are in Ontario, and if I wanted a project anywhere in the world, I'd always say Australia, of course, and I'd say Canada. And if I said Canada, I'd say Ontario. And you look at where we are, we're fairly close to the US border there. We look at a lot of the US manufacturers now, looking at sourcing raw materials from Canada. We're in a really good spot there. Tesla's just built this factory in Toronto, battery factory in Toronto there. So we're starting to see that already, and particularly as America decouples from China, I think it goes for its second manufacturing boom, which has to happen and will happen. We're well positioned, like as far as offtake goes.
I think that I remember when COVID happened, I sort of made that comment that we could see this decoupling of our dependence on China and things like that. And I think there's more, that narrative may have more bite today than even 2 years ago. Right? It was 2 years ago when this started. So, when you guys talk to your brokers, I know we sort of touched on this a bit. I'm curious, and I want to bring that message to the viewers. Is what are they saying, like going forward 2022, right? I think there's going to be a double down or triple down on confidence. I don't know. What are the real guys that are playing with money telling you?
I think it all comes down to news flow and quality news flow. I mean, if you look at us as a business, we do a lot of work. We report a lot of news out to the market. Relevant news, it's not fluff, it's real, it's what we do. I think that's what separates you. We spoke before we came on camera about the number of IPOs that have occurred over the past 12, 18 months. There's a lot of noise in the marketplace, so you need to be able to set yourself aside, and you need to be able to have good projects, you need to be able to doing real work, you need the money to do it, you need to be reporting that to the market in the right way. I think as long as you do that, you do the right thing by the business, it does the right thing by the shareholders.
Yeah. Oh, look, I think one of the things that I like about Critical, and you've done it by showing it, is that you are very active with news flow, and even those announcements coming out almost weekly or fortnightly really creates a sense of understanding where the business is going, as opposed to people wondering where the business is going.
Correct. I mean, if people are wondering, they're going to make up their own mind. And the conclusion they come to probably isn't going to be great.
Yeah.
So of course, I want to bring our shareholders along for the journey, and what we do is really exciting. To have real projects, to be doing real work, that's really exciting. We're not mining the market, and we're not doing that. we've got real projects, we're doing real work, and to see the company evolve from where it was 12 months ago to where it is today, and this is a starting point for us. Okay, this is where I see we begin the real work. It's really, it's great. It's great for me. It's great for our shareholders, and that's what I want to get across to people. So I want them to know what's going on. I want them to understand it. I want them to be excited. And as you know, I'm well contactable as a MD. I believe my number's out there everywhere on social media. But you know, people do contact me, and always happy to field questions and discuss.
Look, I must say that, you know, you're definitely, if not already taken over the helm of Mr. LinkedIn, the new Mr. LinkedIn, I would say. I see you almost every day, sharing thoughts and news. Look, you know, Alex, to round off the conversation, I guess, you know, can you give us a summary of news flow for the next 12 months, or your thoughts on that section, so that people who are watching can go, okay, that's what's happening?
Yeah, sure. So let's start with Halls Peak. There's lots of news flow to come there. Drilling is continuing. We keep finding new targets. There's more to do. We've proved, you know, near surface mineralisation. Intermediate, we've proved that as well. You know, we're looking at depth now, and we're starting to prove that too. So we're going to keep growing that thesis, you know, and that's going to evolve into something really special over time. So I think you're going to see continuous news flow from Halls Peak for the foreseeable future. And of course, now we have the money to do that, which is great. Onto the lithium side of things, Mavis Lake drilling starting soon. People are very excited about that, of course. Historically, there's been some really good grades there. You know, really good grades, 1.6, 1.7%, you know, 2%. So, you know, we're following up on that. So that 5,000 metres is a really good start for us. I think that's really gonna excite people. And then we look at some of our other assets. We look at Graphic Lake, and we look at our new acquisitions we announced today. There's early stage works to be done there, you know, surface mapping and airborne surveys. We want to build a project pipeline where our projects are at slightly different stages. And to come back to your question before about, you know, how does all the news fit in, you know, I think it's important, if you have your projects at slightly different stages, there's a different relevance. There's different relevance to each set of results. So that's what we're doing. We've got plenty happening. Keep watching. We thank everyone for their support. It's been a really good year. It's been a bit average on the markets the last couple of weeks. I think good projects and good companies will always rise to the top, and I think that's critical.
I think, you know, look, I've always said it from the day we've been doing all these videos that, you know, guys should look at companies with good projects, because at times like this is when they don't fall as much and they become cheaper for you to reposition yourself, and you can see that there's substance, right? So I think, you know, to everyone that's watching, you know, you should reach out to Alex and ask him questions. Alex is very accessible. So look, Alex, thank you for your time. It's been a good catch up. Lots have been happening, so it's a great way to finish. But we're trying to help up everybody as well. So I've been working with Florence Drummond and with the Indigenous women in resource. So they've come up with a package of coffee beans, coffee powder, and I'm just helping them, just handing it out to the likes of yourself when you guys are finished.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Okay.
And look forward to the next one.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks, guys.